Hi Taurus, it's Romy. This is your September 2021 soul story. I hope this finds you well. So if you have a Taurus sun, rising or moon, you might find that this general reading gives you some insights and a little bit of a heads up as the best way to navigate the energy of the next few weeks. And so we're opening up your reading with the Hanged Man. Now, Virgo season, this earth energy, activating that fifth house heart space for you is really an invitation actually to slow it down a little bit and think of it as your heart being a bridge. You know, this is about you finding an opportunity to activate a beautiful sense of devotion that feels quite quiet. You know, there's an opportunity for you to perhaps take a step back to start to observe and to witness where your energy has been going, what priorities you've had in the last few weeks and months, and just to have a little bit of a reset. And I honestly feel that you're going to be quite grateful for some of the changes and the shifts in energies that take place in September, that is just going to give you a little bit more time to figure some stuff out. I think there's also this awareness from an energy perspective that you are now ready to expand, and there may still be a little bit of conflict or confusion within yourself about the best way to do that, or even indeed all of the ways in which you're feeling you're kind of ready for it. So the energy of the Hanged Man is positive in the sense of it's going to give you that ability to be able to see things from a different perspective. And again, you need the stillness, you need the quietness to be able to like really tune into that. And in Virgo energy, of course, we have that same nutrient-rich soil, and it's really about that earth medicine that you're tapping into to help you. And I have this sense it's almost like when you've potted a plant and it's just become too big and it needs to be repotted. It wants to go into the ground to really spread its roots and to be able to fulfill its potential. And so there's something about feeling this squeeze and kind of knowing that there's an area of your life that you've got to create some space for. Now, yes, you might be feeling a little bit stuck as to the best way to do that. But remember, if our heart is the bridge, it's about really tapping into what do we feel passionate about? You know, what is our relationship to desire right now? Because fifth house energy is the playfulness, it's the romance in life, it's that creative muse that wants to be opened up, and that relationship to your inner child. And the Ace of Cups is really saying you got to take care of you right now. Now we're going to move into September and welcome this gorgeous new moon in Virgo on the 6th. I really like the energy of this date for you, Taurus, because the sun is also trining with Uranus that's moving through your sign. Mars is trining with Pluto, Venus is trining with Jupiter. So everybody's having really helpful, supportive conversations astrologically during that new moon. So it's a fantastic time to kind of really decide, what do I want to invest in by way of things that make me feel good, you know, and really committing to that and finding a little bit of a spark and a new sense of perhaps even falling back in love with an aspect of yourself or your life in some way. And it may also indicate a time where if there has been a bit of a delay or some things that have felt like they've been held up for you, that you might also get a little bit of a rapid movement forward. It's a very intuitive energy as well around that time. So you may even be picking up some really strong sort of psychic flashes about something that you're interested in, that you're working on, or that you want to start to consider birthing into reality. Of course, that Ace of Cups, you know, it's overflowing with water here. So heightened emotions might come in as well, as you really perhaps come to terms with something, or there's a major spiritual epiphany with that Hanged Man energy that's guiding you as you move through the month, and you realize, okay, I can't go back, you know, at this point there's nothing there for me to return to, so I have no choice but to really open up to what's coming and where I feel that energy wanting to expand. So it's a beautiful bridge that you are building, and remember that heart space is the center point of your energy system in terms of how it's speaking to you all the way through this month. And so this pause, this reset, this time for regrouping is also just going to allow a lot of good positive energy to start to show up in your life. And I think that also impacts on relationships for you as well. Now, one of the things I want to say to you is this is a month in September where we're moving away from connections of convenience, Taurus. You know, there's no place for those relationships where you felt really enmeshed, you know, you've been so busy sort of taking care of the needs of others that it has been to the you know, the detriment of you. There's been a little bit of self-abandonment that's taken place. But here we've got the Ace of Cups and now the Ace of Wands. So you have this beautiful new energy of like restart, reset, and kind of the potential and the seeds starting to emerge for you. So I feel it's going to be a tremendously inspiring month. Now, we are going to be welcoming Mercury Retrograde. It's going to come in on the 27th in the sign of Libra. It's the third air sign. It has had a retrograde transit this year, but we're going to have the shadow of that coming in as early as the 7th of the month. And so some of these new ideas, Taurus, may actually be things that you've either thought about previously or actually had maybe already started but not had time to take forward or to progress. And that may also even be the case by way of some of the connections and relationships, because Mercury retrograde in Libra, of course, does have an emphasis and a focus around our personal connections. And so you might be coming back into contact with people who have either helped you in the past or can, you know, maybe now offer something of value to where you now find yourself, or new ideas, inspirations that you want to talk about. And, you know, obviously from a romantic perspective, because we are looking at fifth house energy as well through Virgo season, there's maybe also that opportunity to have a fresh start or to take something forward in a way that really ensures that it's aligning with your own needs and that it's not just this connection or relationship of convenience. Are all of your needs being met in this instance? It's really important. Remember, like that plant that we're saying wants to expand and be rooted now into the ground so that it can have room to spread its roots and start to connect and create a whole new kind of ecosystem. And I feel like that's also what you're doing. This idea of an ecosystem actually is really interesting, because I think it's about making changes and adjustments in your world to start to create new networks and come into contact with different types of people. Like everything in your world is kind of had a little bit of a shake up, you know. It's just like somebody came in and sort of like the snow globe shook everything up, and now all the pieces are starting to land and you're getting a much clearer idea of what you feel is right for you. And you're maybe not in a position through the course of September to kind of start to make all of those changes, but there's definitely something about a reevaluation of the strategy and the planning. Now, Temperance comes in and says that we need to find that midpoint, that art of finding the balance. And this is really important because we're also going to be welcoming the equinox energy this month on the 22nd, autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere, spring equinox in the southern hemisphere, and that real midpoint where we move between the light and the shadow. And so understanding what it's going to take in a year that has really likely caused you to feel kind of displaced and disconnected in so many different ways for so many different reasons. At this juncture, at this exact moment, what will it take for you to maintain and find consistent balance in your life? And that's probably changed pretty dramatically from what you may have thought it would have been, you know, a year or 2 years ago. And so having that really important conversation with yourself is going to be something that you're really going to appreciate you took the time to do, because the self-care and kind of nurturing aspect of that Ace of Cups for me is really, really important. What we're doing is we're finding this beautiful new sense of devotion, and it is quiet, you know, and it's about how do you genuinely feel on the inside right now, not what is coming at you and who is giving you validation or recognition or lack of. It's about really just kind of taking a step back and saying, where do I stand on this matter? How do I feel about myself and about my life and about the direction that I'm moving, the decisions and choices that I'm making at the moment? Now, we have a couple of stress points through this month just to keep a little bit of a heads up on. So Venus in Libra, where she loves to be, on the 5th of the month, just ahead of that new moon, she's going to be squaring with Pluto. So some power issues and some control issues perhaps being flagged up, and especially in relation to, you know, our money story, our finances, how we're valuing ourselves, whether we're feeling challenged in that sense, and even relationships. But because you have such powerful, good energy around that new moon, I feel like you're going to handle things really well if anything does kind of flare up around that moment. We also have Venus squaring Saturn on the 17th. And so again, just feeling like under duress a little bit to kind of commit or to follow through with something that you feel uncomfortable about. But, you know, Saturnian lessons sometimes can be for our own highest good, and so you may not like the medicine that's coming, Nine of Swords, but at the same time perhaps it's going to help you to deal with a particular type of fear energy that's surfaced, or some anxiety around a situation that's kind of been an undercurrent for a little while now, and we really just want to deal with it. We want to have that moment, and there's something very immediate about the energy in September. You know, we're not making wild plans too far in advance. We're sort of ahead of that new eclipse season that's going to be coming in, of course, you know, starting to light up your sign very soon, Taurus, so you'll already be feeling into that. But this is about, you know, what is the decision and choice I need to make in the very next step right now, okay? So as we approach the full moon this month, it's coming in the sign of Pisces, and we do have a little bit of a temperamental energy. It's very mutable as it comes in the final degrees of Pisces, and it's also opposing Mars at that time, Mars in Libra again, so perhaps there's a little bit of a flag up in terms of some stress around particular personal relationships and connections. For some of you that may be professionally rather than personally, but you know, just be aware of where you're being invited to really consider where some of the energy contradictions are showing up. This is a big theme that's played out across all the soul stories this month. What do I mean by that? It's about us saying, here are the things that I really want in my life. This is what I'm setting my intentions for. These are what my goals are wrapped around. This is what I want my lifestyle to look like. This is what I believe is possible for me. And then on a day-to-day basis, we are being a little bit mindless, a little bit lazy, a little bit reactive. And the contradiction is that we are basically investing our energy in the complete opposite of everything that we actually want. And so even though that there's an awareness that we might be doing it, and you know what I mean, you know what I'm talking about when you're letting your head go there and you're like, okay, this is not helpful. I'm self-sabotaging. I'm allowing this fear, or I'm got in the runaway train. I'm deciding what this means. I'm already ahead of myself thinking about what they're going to say or what they're going to do. And so it really just lowers your vibration, and it is taking you moment by moment away from the things that you say you actually want. So we're all going to be pulled up short in relation to this, and that full moon, quite revelationary and very emotive, you know, it's going to feel quite intense, and it's just ahead of the equinox. So the positive thing about this is then we get to release a lot of the things that have been kind of causing you some stress, and perhaps actually start to really ground it out and realize that a lot of these things haven't happened, are unlikely to happen, and the amount of airtime that you've actually been giving them is not really conducive to progressing things in the way that you want them to. So we have a kind of tipping point where I feel you can really take advantage. Now that equinox also comes in with Mercury squaring Pluto, so it is going to feel intense, and you're going to have to kind of allow for the adjustment in the energy rhythm around that part of the month. But you have the sage advice of the Hermit coming in here, of course linking into Virgo energy, and there's this moment of you feeling elevated and having to sort of get to higher ground, literally, to look out and kind of get a clearer vantage point. You're holding up your lantern here. We've got this beautiful loyalty of the wolf energy here, reminding you to trust with your instincts, you know, feeling a little bit like a lone wolf perhaps at that moment. Of course, there's this sacred loneliness that can come in with the Hermit, but at this moment you can really allow something to drop down into your awareness. And this is what I feel like this Ace of Wands is literally dropping down through the crevasse here in between the rocks, directly through into your crown chakra, and in that awareness of the Hermit. And this is going to be your breakthrough to whatever has got you feeling bound up and tethered and entangled or enmeshed in particular situations in relation to your Nine of Swords. And remember, as we look with this beautiful new sense of devotion and discernment about actually what really matters and where we want to put our priorities, then you're really getting a handle on something. And perhaps this is the spark of, this is the change I'm going to make, or this is where I need to now invest or put my energy. And so this is how you're going to help to kind of clear up some of those energy contradictions that are happening. Now, while we're working through shadow Mercury retrograde, which can sometimes be as problematic as the cycle itself, what I want to say to you is make sure that you're not overcommitting yourself, Taurus. I feel like you want plenty of space. You've got your Eight of Pentacles here. You do look like you're really invested, and happily so, actually. So you might just need a little bit more time to work on something that's important to you. Now, that might not be important to your boss or your family or your friends or your partner. And so I feel like there's also potentially going to be a little bit of negotiation with Temperance here, saying, okay, give me some time so I can go invest in this because it's really important to me right now. But at the same time, knowing that what you are going to be able to achieve as a result of that time, and making sure that you do invest yourself fully, and then when you switch off, you properly switch off. So you do give yourself that downtime, that playtime, that beautiful moment of respite to then reconnect. And I think part of this aspect of kind of almost self-mastery, you know, where you're wanting to advance yourself, and Virgo energy is perfect for this, you know, the research, the study, the learning, the accumulation of like new skills and understanding is really preparing you and putting a beautiful new foundation in place for you to actually support what these ace energies are coming in by way of the raw potential of energy that they've got. But what I feel is that, you know, perhaps not everyone's going to be overly excited about the amount of time or energy you want to invest in this new idea, initiative, project, you know. And so we have to just make sure that we're looking at the people that, you know, are not just relationships of convenience, that do matter to us, and that we're not just focused on the aspects of them that serve us, you know, that kind of meet our needs, but actually that we can look at the whole of them and really recognize what do they need in this moment. What is it that they are seeking and looking for just now? And that puts you in a much more balanced, healthy perspective in terms of like how to move this relationship forward. But also you start to express an energy where it's going to be reciprocated. So as you can respect them in that way, they will start to understand and give you more space in terms of what it is that's a priority for you as well. We never want to lose ourselves in those relationships, but at the same time, we also have to accept that, you know, we are engaging and we are connecting to the whole of somebody, and that means that we have to, you know, observe as they go through their own growth journeys as much as you are going through yours. And again, as I want to sort of be drawn back to this analogy of, you know, the plant or the tree wanting to be rooted into new space, it feels like this relationship or relationship that's important to you personally, professionally, wherever this might be flagged up through this month, Taurus, also needs room to grow and to expand. Now that might mean, you know, making sure there's more of a balance in terms of the time that you spend with one another, but also it's about the environments and the space that you actually spend time in as well. So I feel like I want to sort of switch that up or change it up a little bit as well, because it'll also draw out different things. Now, during that full moon in Pisces, we also have the asteroid goddess Vesta, also known as Hestia, moving into the sign of Scorpio right until November, of course, in your 7th house of relationships again. Now, Vesta signifies that brightest star in the sky. She's the custodian of this beautiful, soulful space within us, where we hold that inner light, that inner flame, what keeps us going. Now, in Scorpio, she's really looking to bond, looking to kind of commit and find that sense of loyalty, not only to what burns brightly within you, but also to the people and the connections that you surround yourself with who feel like home. The importance of the placement here is that we're also able to have those difficult conversations. You know, we go to the places that we feel are too challenging, too taboo, too shadow to kind of acknowledge, and we have those conversations during this month. And of course, you know, being mindful of the fact that a retrograde in an air sign can mean communication and messages can be misunderstood and misconstrued, but at the same time, Vesta helping here to really transmute things into much more sacred understanding. And I think that's really important, because for you to be able to keep that fire burning brightly for yourself and the things that are important to you, but also in the relationships that matter. And we've got King of Pentacles coming in here because he's talking about this firm, solid foundation. You know, he wants you to feel emotionally secure. He wants you to feel abundant. He wants you to feel at home and warm in this safe environment for yourself. Now, there's an important message with this Robin coming in from Spirit. So I feel like we have one of your guides from a family perspective who's passed on to the other side coming through, especially in and around this time Vesta moves over during the full moon coming into the equinox, where you're really getting some strong signs and validations about what you're doing, how you're approaching it, you know, how your energy is being expressed. And as we're into Libra season, it's that 6th house where sacred space is everything, you know. But remember, sacred space starts in the mind. You know, we have to find that peace of mind, and then we can move that outwards into the actual physical environment and energy that surrounds us. Now, if you're interested in hearing more about the asteroid goddesses, I've got a new goddess report. You can find the details of that over on my website. And we take your personal natal chart and explore 12 different goddess energies and how they relate to you in your journey. So you might find that of interest. The thing about the 6th house energy through Libra season is your intuition really tells you before anyone shows you what they're about or what they're offering or what they're bringing to the table, because this is everything about the way that you are being of service, how you're showing up in the world. And we want to get that clarity, that sense of really being able to trust in ourselves with a greater degree of certainty than ever before. Now you've got the Wheel of Fortune coming in here, so really interesting fated events. And I want you to leave some of that white space in your diary in September for the spontaneous last minute opportunities, invitations. You know, that's why I'm saying don't overcommit to things, because you may well change your mind. It's a real strong aspect of energy. Mercury ruled energy going retrograde, especially in an air sign. You are going to be changeable in your thoughts and your ideas. You may well revisit things several times over because something new keeps showing up. There's new ideas, new offers on the table. There's a little bit of luck and serendipity coming through with that wheel as well. She's also drawing a really clear circle in the sand here. So I think there's also something about a little bit of a boundary going on here. And this is because you're like, no, this is the space I need. This is the time that I need. You have to allow this for me. And then it's going to, from even an energy hygiene perspective, help you to learn not to just automatically absorb everything that is coming at you or being projected towards you, but being far more in control. And the reason I say that is because, you know, there's really fertile soil around you just now for things to start to take shape and to kind of root. But if you're not like really intentional and proactive with it, and you've got that energy contradiction going on, the environment itself is going to dictate or decide where that's going to go. And then months down the line, weeks down the line, you're going to be like, why did it happen like that? Why was the outcome like this? And it's because you didn't take the moment, especially through September, where you got the chance and you got the time to really observe and review and make it work for you. Okay, so use that time with the equinox to allow the rebalancing energy to come in and get really clear about what's important and where you need to be expanding. So let's take a look and see how the oracle energies just want to join this conversation for you, Taurus. Okay, you have Celestial Channel, number 6, Hidden Beauty, remaining optimistic, staying neutral. I love this for you. I think the neutrality of September is going to be really important for you. It's also going to help to kind of dissolve and take away some of these fears that I feel are going to be kind of activated because of the behavior of others or what energy you're tapping into that isn't really supposed to be something that you take on. If your heart is the bridge, let it be the bridge to something higher by way of your consciousness. Hidden Beauty, again, that Ace of Cups, like I feel like you just need to take care of yourself and things in your life a little better. I feel like you're going to breathe life back into things. I think there's an opportunity to spend a little more time on self-care, on making yourself feel better physically. I think things that perhaps have been neglected a little bit are also getting more time and attention and devotion, and they're really going to show themselves to you in a new way so that actually you can really appreciate their value, especially Venus in Libra, right up until the 10th of the month before she moves into Scorpio is really encouraging that. Now, the celestial channel also indicating that the downloads that you're receiving are pretty profound. The Hermit and the Hanged Man, this is very wise advice coming through to you from your higher self, your council of guides, source energy, whatever it is that you feel aligned to by way of receptivity for that deep intuition that is your guiding light. Again, Vesta and Scorpio really helping you with that. How do we remain optimistic? Well, we make sure that the fear energy isn't driving the bus here, you know, really important. So what is it going to take to be able to transmute some of this? Because that's also going to help you to clear out the energy contradictions. And again, I think it's about finding things that really light you up, that you can invest your energy, because it's almost going to distract you. And it puts you, Eight of Pentacles, into a kind of meditative space where you're actually also able to hear the answers more clearly. And I think that's going to be really important in terms of conversations and what people are asking of you, what you're prepared to compromise on, what you want to give and not give, and just where you see something going, and perhaps the solutions that at the moment may feel unreachable for you, or they haven't yet landed for you, or you feel stuck in some way in terms of how to actually get them off the ground or get them going. But regardless, what I'm looking at here is a more firm, solid foundation for you to start to build on something and really allow that metamorphosis that has been taking place this last few weeks and months to catapult you forward and enable you to release these connections of convenience. Really important, you know, there's no room in your life for just things that are kind of mediocre. Now, your astrology card is Mercury, so of course we highlighted Mercury going retrograde toward the end of the month. Now, as we sort of move through the month of September, Mercury is going to be trining with Jupiter around that full moon, so it's making a nice sweet aspect then. And it's also trining with Saturn on the 4th of the month, okay? So we've got some sweet moments coming through with this planet, even though there's also a little bit of that sleepy, kind of confusing, chaotic, frenetic energy. And I'm not going to go into all of the ways in which retrogrades can impact us, because they're pretty clearly publicized every time it comes around. We know this, but there's also an awful lot of blessings that can come back from the past, and especially in the way that we think, how we're learning and how we're communicating. But in Libra, we also have the opportunity to look at specific relationships, personal relationships, and how they can be beneficial. People that we've known previously, or that we've worked with before, you know, or that we've learned something from, and all of a sudden we see, that's where that can now fit for me, that I can kind of connect the dots in a new way. And remember, we talk about this idea of the ecosystem. I think you're literally going to be using that to kind of help you advance in things. So let's have a look at your crystal energy card here. You have Moonstone, beautiful, transcendence, and connected into the crown chakra. So very similar to that celestial channel as we talk about really important downloads coming through for you. It's a very gentle stone, very potent and powerful, though, activating that divine feminine energy, very nurturing as it links into that 4th house Cancerian energy, helping you to transcend the fears, transcend the difficulties, the disappointments, the setbacks, and allow that bridge to take place between, you know, the old vibration and the new. Now the gap is getting bigger. You're going to feel it in many different areas of your life, between people, between relationships, between what things used to be like and what they're becoming. But, you know, your awareness of the gap is not where we want your focus to be. We want your awareness to be on the bridge that's building you to get to the next point of where you're supposed to be right now. So beautiful energy, Moonstone, perhaps to be working with more powerfully through the course of September for you. You have important major arcana cards coming in here: Hanged Man, Temperance, Hermit, the Wheel. When we have a lot of major arcana, it's really indicating there's a lot of fated, destined energies that are coming into your timeline through the course of September. We don't want you to fight against them. They have really important spiritual lessons and things that they are unfolding into your journey, into your consciousness, okay? Along with these ace energies, there's something really rich and fertile and powerful to work with. So I do not want you to be getting stressed out about the 9 of Swords in your reading here, because I think it's clear that you're going to be working to eliminate and alleviate a lot of the anxiety, the stress, the sleepless nights, because of the new things that you're going to be putting in place as a result of what you learn in September. So this is a general reading, Taurus. If you'd like to join me for the extended version, we talk for another 20 minutes or so and just go a little bit deeper into the messages. Now you can find the link for that in the description box in the comment section underneath the video. It's a way to support my channel, which I'm super grateful of, and also get a little bit more for this month. So just invite you to think about a question that we haven't specifically asked, and we've just pulled a couple of cards that we'll go into a little bit more detail on for you. And then just going back to this main spread, so beginning with the Hanged Man, bringing through the energy of the Page of Wands, so fire energy showing up here, and another Ace of Cups, so maybe an Aries, Sagittarius or Leo is significant by way of people showing up. Nice, we have the Knight of Cups as well, so there's an emphasis around what's happening in love and romance for you as well. But also creativity being sparked beautifully. Knight of Swords coming in, the Four of Swords. And the Sun. The World. You've got some gorgeous energies coming in to support you moving forward, allowing this cycle to change. Equinox energy is so potent in terms of allowing the shift. Okay, you're having a lot of night energies coming through, meaning there's lots of changes on the way, lots of news, information making their way towards you as well. Seven of Cups coming in and the King of Pentacles. Interesting. So maybe some of this fear and confusion is also in connection to this earth energy. Another Nine of Swords coming up here. What is stressing you out in September, Taurus? I'm going to work to get to the root of that. Okay, Nine of Cups, nice. Another Wheel coming in and Page of Cups. Very unexpected events showing up for you. Ace of Wands. Remember, we have that Sun trining Uranus on the new moon. Okay, I'm just going to pull a couple more here. So, King of Swords and the Chariot. Beautiful. Taurus, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you've enjoyed the reading. If you have, please do be sure to drop me a like and a comment. If you're joining me for the extended, then I will see you there. You take care. Have a great month ahead. Bye-bye.